What is going on, guys? My name is Kenji and welcome back to my channel. Hopefully it's not the first time that you're watching one of my videos, but in case it is, I'm a third-year medical student studying at King's College London. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about exactly how much it costs me to study as a medical student in London. There are a few reasons why I make this video. The first one is that I lived in Birmingham for the last 3 years in my undergraduate degree, and it really would have benefited me to know exactly how much I'm going to be spending when I eventually do move to London. I also get quite a lot of messages asking me about how much it costs me to live in London, so in case you're planning to in the future or you're thinking about it, hopefully this can give you some insight into how much it's going to cost you and how much of a financial hit it might be. And this is not going to include any extras like holidays, kind of shopping for clothes and stuff like that. It's just purely going to be all of my maintenance and my living costs as well. So as always, the timestamps will be on the screen and also in the description down below. So feel free to jump to any part of the video that you'd like to go to straight away. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with my life maintenance, and the first thing, which is one of the most expensive things, is my rent, which costs me £275 per week, or £39 per day. This is inclusive of all the bills, so of my heating, my electricity, my Wi-Fi, absolutely everything. £275 per week, which is quite a lot. I remember when I used to live in Birmingham for my undergraduate degree, we were paying like £100 per week, slightly less than that, maybe like £90 a week. So this is more than 3 times what I was paying in Birmingham. But the reason why is because I live in central London, so I live in like zone 1, which makes it a lot more expensive. And as I said, this is by far one of the most expensive thing, well, probably, yeah, the most expensive thing about living in London. But unfortunately, if you live in one of the biggest cities in the world, that's just gonna be a hit you have to take, unfortunately. All right, so that is my rent. The second thing that is the biggest spending so far is my tuition fees. The reason why I'm mentioning my tuition fees is because I'm a postgraduate, which means that I don't get a tuition fee loan, which means that I have to pay for all of my tuition fees straight from my pocket. So that's why I'm including it into this video. Obviously, if you are an undergraduate student, you can get a loan for this, and this may not be something you want to consider. So tuition fees cost me £9,250, and that's for the whole entire year. I'm only actually in university for 9 months of the year because 3 months of that is spent on summer. So that comes out to £1,027 per month, or divided into 31 days, £33 per day. Yeah, that's quite a lot actually. So I'm definitely going to think twice the next time that I decide to skip class, or I'm considering skipping class. Alright, so the next thing that I spend my money on is a gym. That costs me £190 per year, or 51p per day. As well as that, I also have my phone bill. My phone bill costs me £52.64 per month, which works out to £1.70 per day. And my phone bill includes both the contract for paying for my actual phone and also the airtime plan that comes with the phone as well. So that's all of my life maintenance, and that comes up to a total of £74.63 per day. Yeah, that's quite a lot. All right, so moving on to the weekly expenses. This is just like what I spend day to day for my living costs. The first thing is food. Food last week cost me around £35.50 per week, which works out to £5.07 per day, which actually, thinking about it, for breakfast, lunch and dinner isn't that much. I tend to meal prep all my meals on a Sunday, and so I have my lunch and dinner completely sorted throughout the week, which saves me quite a bit of money. The next thing on my list is socializing. Socializing, looking at all of February, cost me £257.95 for the whole of February, which works out to £8.32 per day. £8.32 per day, like that's actually mad. I didn't actually realize I spent that much on socializing and, you know, going out. But this includes kind of going to dinner, having lunch with my friends every now and again, going to bars, going to cinema, all of my kind of like going out and socializing costs. And February was particularly expensive. Like during February, it was one of my best mates' birthdays. It was my birthday. We also had the halfway ball to celebrate halfway through medical school. So February generally was quite an expensive month, and I don't think I'd normally spend that much money. That's something I'm going to take into consideration. The next thing on my list is travel. So traveling includes kind of taking the bus to and from my hospital placements, traveling outside of London to go and visit my friends, kind of taking the underground trains to go and socialize and meet my friends for lunch or dinner, and also going all the way back to northwest London to see my family as well. So this works out to £129.50 for the whole of February, which works out to about £4.17 per day on travel. I know that doesn't sound like quite a lot, but actually £4 per day is quite a bit, and quite ridiculous actually. I'm definitely going to buy a helmet for my bike. I own a bike. I've had a bike for the last kind of 4 or 5 years, and I've ridden it literally a handful of times. So I'm definitely going to go buy a helmet in like Evans Cycles or something really soon. Hold me to it, guys. You're definitely gonna see me on the streets these days, sooner or later on my bike.
One eternity later.
Hey. The last thing on my list in terms of weekly expenses is my laundry fee. So I do laundry around once every 2 weeks, and that costs me £10 per month, which works out to 32p per day. So in terms of my weekly expenses, that works out to a total of £17.88 per day, which I honestly don't know how I'm gonna be affording this. Like, I should have probably done this video at the start of the year before realizing how much I'm spending on my life expenses. But so far, if we look at the life maintenance fees and also my weekly expenses, that works out to a total whopping £92.51 per day altogether. All right, so the last category that I have on my list here is the apps and the services that I use. This is inclusive of like Spotify, you know, Netflix, all of those kind of things I use on my phone and the services I pay for. Starting off with Spotify Premium, Amazon Prime, Netflix. Okay, that's a total of £0. I don't pay for any of this. I have learned to be smart in medical school, which means that I'm an absolute leech. So I leech Spotify from my sister's boyfriend, Amazon Prime is from one of my best friends, Netflix is for my mum. Yeah, I'm an absolute leech. And if you guys have anything that I could possibly leech onto, leave a comment down below and hit me up. I'm only joking. But yeah, those things are all paid for by my amazing friends and family. The next thing that I actually do pay for, because there are a few things I do pay for, is Evernote. I got a deal and I paid £45 per year on Evernote, which works out to 12p per day. Evernote is an absolutely amazing tool that I use every single day. And I'll be making a whole video on Evernote and how I managed to stay paperless and have no paper at all in medical school, so stay tuned for that. I also pay for Instapaper, which costs me £1.84 per month, which works out to 6p per day. I also pay for Squid, which is a note-taking app that I use on my tablet to write all of my notes. That costs me £1 per month or 3p per day. I also pay for Readwise. Readwise is a service I like to use, which sends me all of my Kindle highlights or a few Kindle highlights every single day. That works out to be £3.91 per month or 12p per day. I also pay for an Audible subscription. I'm not entirely sure why, because I don't really commute that often. Because I live so centrally, I don't actually commute that often, and I barely have any time to read these books. But anyways, I pay £3.99 per month for that, which works out to 12p a day. And lastly, I also pay for eJunkie. eJunkie is just a hosting service that I use to host all of my ebooks for my, like, you know, MMI notes and stuff like that. Link in the description if you want to check that out. Little plug. So in terms of all of my apps and services, that works out to a total of £0. That works out to a total of 55p per day. So looking at all three categories, my life maintenance, my weekly expenses, and also my apps and services, all these three categories works out to, can I get a drum roll? Can I get a drum roll? £93.06 per day, which is like, it's actually making me worried. Like, I'm not entirely sure how I pay £93.06 per day. This may be my last video on YouTube. I may have to go into hiding because I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna pay all this money. But there are a few things that I've learned through making this video. And the first one is that I do spend quite a lot of money on socializing, and I didn't actually realize how much I do spend on socializing. But the thing is that for me, the relationships are the most important part of my life. Like, of course, like medical school and my career is really important, but the relationships I have with people and my friends are so important, which means that every now and again I will have to spend money on going to like see them, going to like have dinner with them or lunch with them. And that for me is just like, it's a given. Like, it's something I just have to do in my life and something I really value. The kind of philosophy I also have about this is that throughout medical school and as a student, I would rather be like broke and spend all of my money kind of traveling and seeing people and seeing my friends, but have like a really enjoyable lifestyle during medical school rather than saving money up and not enjoying like my student lifestyle. Obviously that will change when I have more commitments like a family and I have a job and all those little things, but during like being a student, I don't actually mind too much about spending this money. And to be honest, thinking about it, I don't really spend money on clothes. I don't spend money on things that I don't really need. The majority of money that I spend socializing goes into either traveling or, you know, spending time with my friends and family. And for me, that's like a worthy sacrifice. The way I also kind of think about it is that if, let's say I decide to not go out at all this year and I manage to save £500 in my bank account, that £500 when I do become a doctor and I do have a job won't really make that big of a difference. Whereas using £500 now will make a huge difference to my quality of life and my enjoyment of medical school and university in general. So socializing is something that I'm definitely like wary of, but it's not something that I worry too much about spending, because the pros definitely outweigh the cons for me. The second thing that I actually realized is that I spend so much money on traveling, and as I said, it's going to be one of my goals to ride my bike at least 2 or 3 times per week. I'm thinking about possibly riding my bike to the hospital, but riding in London is like so scary with all the buses and the cars and all the bikes. So I still need to gain the courage to actually get on my bike, but that's something I definitely want to do, and hold me to it, guys. And the last thing I learned is that, living in London is quite expensive. Like, it's no doubt that rent is 3 times the price, 4 times the price as what you might pay up north. But for me, I had the choice of living somewhere in like zone 4 or zone 5, somewhere more on the outskirts or the suburbs of London. But I personally would rather pay more money to have the convenience of living in central London. I managed to get home from my hospital in less than 20 minutes. Like, it normally takes me around 19 minutes to get home. And for me, having that convenience means that I can kind of spend time investing in making videos for you guys, or studying a bit longer, or working a job, or working towards my business. So I'd much rather have that than commuting over an hour to get to the hospital, over an hour to get back home. It's just something that I've weighed up in my mind, and something that I've just accepted. Also, living in London kind of does depend on your personality. So if you are considering living in London as well, think about what type of personality you have. So for me, I quite like the hustle and bustle of living in central London. I like how it's so convenient and everything is around me. It makes traveling and doing things a lot easier. And I've been in London for such a long time. So for me, like, London really does suit my personality. Whereas on the other hand, I do have friends who live up north in Preston or in Oxford. And for them, that tends to actually suit their personality. Some of my friends are more chilled. They've grown up in the countryside. They kind of prefer having, more of a quiet area. And that suits them perfectly. And I've had like long conversations with my friends about, what suits our personalities. So that's definitely something you have to consider. And that's definitely something that I thought about when thinking about where to apply for university. And as a final point, guys, like, as you can tell and as you've seen, living in London is not cheap. Living in London is one of the most expensive cities in the whole entire world, and it definitely is the most expensive city in the UK. But on the other side of that, there are so many perks about living in London, and I absolutely love it. There's so much to do in London. There's so many different airports, which makes it so much easier to travel with your friends. It's a beautiful city. There are beautiful people in it. And I honestly really, really enjoy living in London. As I said, I lived in Birmingham for my last degree, and I much prefer living in London. Like, Birmingham is an amazing city as well, but there's very few cities that actually compare to London, in my personal opinion. And definitely whenever I travel abroad for holiday, there's always a part of me that definitely misses coming home back to London. So that is pretty much it, guys. I hope you found this video valuable, and hopefully it's given you an idea of what living in London might cost you. If you didn't enjoy the video, please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below as well if you have any questions about what it's like to live in London, and leave some video suggestions if you guys have any. Make sure you're subscribed as well, and I'll see you guys on the next one.